Well, hello. We're at a hotel, Super 8, here in Irwin, Tennessee. So to recap the last few days or so, we've done a lot of bouncing around, visiting, and things like that. We did skip a section from Sam's Gap over to Spivey Gap. And so if we finish the rest of the AT, we got to come back and stitch that together to actually through hike.
It's about 13 miles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with a lot of elevation.
Yeah.
Which isn't that big of a deal. It's just a matter of we were looking at the weather at the time and whether we thought we could actually do that section and get out with the weather. It's been pouring quite a bit. Tonight it's still predicted to snow. I've been going back and forth as to how much, so I have really no idea what's going on. So we're pretty happy with our sitting inside right now. One day of rain or so is not so bad, but you know, when you're having to pack up a wet tent and your clothes get wet, and then the next day having to do it again, you can do that 1 or 2 days.
Well, and then they were
3 is
also
bad.
the temperatures going into some lows around 20
Yeah.
degrees, and and they were predicting it'll be colder up in the hills.
And the highs are going to be in the 30s, so getting things defrosted. None of which is impossible or a big deal. We've certainly done it before, but because we've done it before, it's not something we're thrilled with. The other factor, the thing that really kind of sucks the joy out of the trail, we're finding out is logistics. We always wondered why people talked on videos so much about, well, our plan today is to go this, but we might stop here, or, you know, I've got to stop and do resupply. They talk about their logistics all the time. And we realized we've spent more time trying to figure out the logistics of how do you balance out the distance that you're going, how your body's feeling, the altitude of the, because it's not distance, it's usually the elevation change and how rough the elevation is that determines what your distance is, where the towns are, blah, blah, blah. And we've definitely been caught by the bubble. There's a lot of very young, very fast, much faster than us. Hikers, they tend to be thin, very thin, very young, and very fast.
And so that's been causing problems with tent limitations and shelter limitations out there on the trail. You'd think that there would be plenty of camping spots when we're out there, but a lot of it is ridge walking, and so you've got these steep inclines on both sides of your trail where there's no flat spots. So it adds to the limitations.
And you can't plan on where to camp. There's we have a program called Gut Hook. You may have heard us reference it, as well as a guide called AWOLs, which is a PDF paper guide. And they're great for planning. There's a lot of the shelters are listed, and there are some tent sites that are listed along the way, and those are the ones you can kind of plan on being there. However, you can't plan on there's something being there, you know, that you'll get good tent sites when you get there, because there's so many people out there these days. It wasn't a problem so much in the first few weeks that we were here. There are a lot of other what they call stealth sites that you walk along, but you can't plan on them, so they're always a surprise when you walk on them. They're also typically dry camping, meaning there's no water nearby. So in order to be able to try and take advantage of those, we would have to carry a lot more water to be able to hydrate at the end of the day, make our meals, and then have something to walk out of it with, depending on what the water situation is around that camp. So to make a long story monotonous out of the whole deal, we've been scrambling trying to figure out what to do, because we can sometimes hike the same distances as some of the younger kids are doing, because they typically go very fast, but then they don't go as long. But that means that we're last ones into camp. Unless we want to start hiking where we get up at like 4 in the morning and get ourselves out, you know, when it's dark, and then do our long hike and still try to get ourselves in. And that may come about when things get a little lighter and a little warmer. So to make a long story short, one of the things we're considering now is actually skipping up ahead, which was always in our plans. We thought we might actually skip ahead before we hit the Smokies to stay ahead of the bubble. We were thinking maybe of moving ahead about 400 or 500 miles. However, we have an opportunity to go on a shuttle that is already happening from here to a place called Ceres, Virginia, which is only a couple hundred miles ahead, but a couple hundred miles ahead is easy, and it has a hostel right at Ceres within walking distance of the trail. So we're thinking we're going to spend tonight, we spent last night here in this hotel, spend tonight in the hotel because the shuttle doesn't leave until tomorrow, and then go up to Ceres, and then probably spend another night,
And then jump on the trail from there.
And then jump on the trail
and then
from there.
keep heading north. Yeah.
And then keep heading north so that we're a little bit in front of the bow wave, and then see if we've been increasing our distance, particularly after we changed our shoes. I think that actually helped, but also our fitness level has certainly improved and thinning up a little bit. That's pounds we're carrying around. And so anyway, that's our plans, and maybe some insight for those of you who are maybe occasionally thinking about doing the Appalachian Trail. It's not throwing on a pack and then, you know, hiking until you've gotten X number of miles or so. You're often looking ahead and thinking, okay, I can do either 8 or 10 miles, but that seems too short, but that's our opportunity. Or, you know, you could maybe do another big hill that's got 2,000, you know, feet of elevation over the next 2 miles with a big downhill, and do an extra maybe 8 miles to the next shelter. And those are your choices. And depending on how you're feeling that day for your body, what time it is, etc., a lot of times you just don't have the option to go in between and say, oh, you know, 8 miles is too short, but, you know, 12 miles is ideal. I think your choice might actually be 15 or 18 miles, and there's nothing you can do about it. So you get a lot of these awkward distances. Mm-hmm. Food is an issue. We're always trying to balance out, trying to carry enough food, but not so much that it gets really heavy really fast, and that really slows you down and really affects you both uphill and steep downhills. So anyway, we rambled on for quite a bit. It looks like almost 6 minutes or so at this point. Do you have anything to add?
No, if we go out into town, well, we have to go into town because we're going to resupply. If we are going to go ahead and bounce forward, we want to get groceries here while there's a decent grocery store. We'll take some video of the town, but we might be kind of limited today because of the rain again. But anyway, we'll keep you updated on our plans if we do bounce forward, unless we come up with some other idea between now and tomorrow morning. We'll keep you updated.
Rain today, maybe snow tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh well, crazy weather.
Certainly snow up at the higher elevations. We're low down here at Irwin, so.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
The rain let up, and we're heading into Irwin. It looks like this is considered their downtown area. If we see anything historical, we'll make sure we videotape it. One of the interesting facts about Irwin is it was originally named Irvin, but the Postal Service mixed up the town's last name, and so it became Irwin. Pretty interesting. Came across this Blue Ridge pottery sign, and for 40 years, this was one of the largest producers of this hand-painted under the glaze pottery, and it was sold under the name Blue Ridge. Interesting. We just got back into our room from resupplying, and we thought it'd be a good idea. Someone asked what kind of food we put in our packs, and we're still working through that whole situation. But what I wanted to show you was we have a couple of meals here: stroganoff and beans and rice. And we don't usually cook a lot of meals, and so we kind of limit these because these kind of get a little heavy. But we got 2 dinners there, and this is coconut oil that we put one of those in the meals in order to help, give us some fats in our diet. We have coffee here that we haven't been having coffee on the trail. We're usually trying to get out quickly, so we have, we've been carrying this around for a while. The super greens, we use this in our water, and it helps kind of give us some kind of, powdered vegetables. And we add some lemonade in there as well to kind of help the taste. We got a little bit of granola we're still holding on to. These things are pretty tasty. They're meals on the go, and they've got a lot of protein in there and fats that we need, and calories. So we've got 3 of those. And then over here, this is like a powdered hummus, so we hold on to that just for emergency in case we start getting low on food and we're hungry. Meals to go, we've shown these before. We have 2 of these that we had our daughter ship out to us, and these kind of help with a breakfast. And we've got single spams. We got 2 of those. We're kind of trying to limit our food right now because we think we only need it for 3 days before we need to resupply. And so we're working this. We've got 3 packets of almonds. We've got some gummies that are usually nice to have. We tend to snack a lot on the trail, and so we don't have to stop and make a meal. That's why you're going to see a lot of bars. We got 3 RX bars, couple kind, a LAR bar, 6 of these protein bars, and then Protein Plus. And then we use beef jerky. That usually, sometimes I put that with instant potatoes as a meal, but lately I've been liking it just as a quick snack on the trail. And we grab the avocado. We try to take one of those out and eat it usually the first day out on the trail, because they ripen so quickly and can get messy and heavy. So we put that into tortillas. So the tortillas will be used for the avocado, and we do have some cheese in the fridge we're going to take with us. And then we have a lot of these little Ritz cracker kind of mixes here that we'll chomp on. But that is probably about it. This will be probably 2 to 3 days of food for us, and we'll see how that works and adjust as necessary. We're not sure, what we're going to need and how much we're going to eat, but we need to start learning to eat more while we're on the trail.